Good evening. Welcome to Kickin It with Kenneth. As you may have recognized, right, lately I've been bringing some local talent, if you will, right, and professionals from a more eccentric point of view in terms of color and culture, right. This evening, I have the pleasure of bringing you tonight's guest, Miss Angela Byrd, who will tell us all about what she does as a PR. Good evening. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kenneth. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I guess, first of all, what I'd like to ask is, what is a PR?
What is a PR?
And what do they do?
Okay, well, PR is public relations, and what a public relations representative does for a client. I mean, there's a plethora of things that a public relations professional will do for a client. I guess right at the top involves publicity. Okay, and my role, my primary role in my company is that of a publicist. Okay. So, and it all depends on what the specific needs clients have that you have to meet in terms of branding, marketing. There could be some market research involved, but for the most part, media relations. And with that, part of what I also offer my clients in terms of media relations is the coaching, like those that never been in front of a TV camera, or never been on radio.
So I probably should have came to see you before I started doing this, right? Okay. All right.
So I will help to provide some coaching. Okay. You know, it just also in terms of image. You know, I consult on image. And there's reputation management, there's crisis management. Yes. There's just, depending on what the client is looking for.
Because the word plethora meant, you know, right? Something really like,
you have to wear
like
many
a broad
hats.
Spectrum of things. That,
exactly.
You know, not that our audience would not have known what plethora is. Right. I just thought I'd clear that up for them, right? Okay. Would you like to tell us the name of your company?
Yes, the name of my company is Percept Image Consulting Group, PICG Inc. And my company is based in Baltimore. Okay. Hey.
So, tell us what qualifies you to be a PR?
Okay. Well, I come from a pretty extensive corporate background that involved communications, marketing communications, and market research. Okay. I also have knowledge of television news and television production. Okay. So it just seems like after like 25 years in the corporate world.
Well, you don't look older than 25. So,
oh, thank you.
Yeah, I do what I can. See, I need to be a PR.
That's right. That's right.
There we go.
But I guess I came full circle and decided to leave the corporate world and launch my own public relations company. So. Okay.
So, do you have a degree or?
Yes, I have a degree in mass communications. Okay. Yes.
Okay. Well, and if you don't mind, what's your alma mater?
Towson University.
Okay. So they actually do break a good product out into the public and help us to communicate and relate, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So, tell me, what are some of the questions you might ask a potential client?
Usually, when I sit down with a potential client. The first thing I ask them what they're looking for. Okay. You know, what are their requirements, and I'll give my suggestions. You know, based on what they're looking for in terms of service. I also will ask the important question, not that their services or what they're looking for isn't important, but the one key question that I ask: do you have a budget? Okay. Okay, because I have found that most potential clients don't
have a budget.
Don't have a budget.
Okay. I would think that budgeting in terms of corporations or small companies, do you find it easier to do budgets for larger corporations, if you will, or clients, or smaller? Because I mean, I guess with my layman's understanding, right? I mean, most larger corporates should pretty much have a balanced ballot.
Exactly,
right?
exactly, which I'm pretty aware of. corporate budgets. But when it comes to, let's say, a small business owner that's looking for marketing consulting work, or it could be a book author that's looking for publicity. It's really important that even before they approach a PR professional, that they do look at what they're going to spend, or have an idea of how much they want to spend for PR services. Yes.
Okay. So, in terms of corporations, and larger organizations, and lieu of smaller businesses or smaller promotions or public relations,
right?
Which would you prefer, or does it matter?
It doesn't matter. In terms of me having
if you
a corporate,
say for instance, having a corporate account,
right,
as opposed to having an individual account,
right,
of a small, say, personally owned business, if you will.
Well, I guess maybe from lessons learned, and from, I've had my experience of my good clients and my bad clients,
right.
As everyone else that are in business for themselves. But what I find is, of course, my corporate type clients, they have a budget in place, and when they hire you, they actually allow you to do your job. They hire you to be this PR professional, to represent them, and they let you do your job. With individuals, with some, not
small
all,
entrepreneurs,
right? Small
right.
They are. Well, again, we get into the issue of budgets, and what's really realistic in terms of having a PR professional. I have found that some people are not even remotely ready to have a PR professional. So, so I'll still guide them and give them some practical information that will help them along. So
let me ask you this, in terms of salary, right? I mean, you don't have to tell me specifically what we'll be sharing later on, but in terms of salary, what is the range of salary for PR?
Well,
PR reps, if you will.
PR reps. If you're talking a PR person working for a large corporate,
I'm talking about working for, say for instance,
for me,
you, right? And then you can expand over into the larger organization, systemic type.
Well, right now, and I'm poor,
right?
Because I own my own company. And it's, I've been actually working for myself. For about 3 years. For about 3 years. So it's, I went through that whole, the
roller coaster.
The roller coaster, exactly. Now it's starting to
get an ebb and flow.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's where I am. So right now I'm poor, but if I look at it down the road, maybe in 5 years or so, a PR professional could make in a range of, especially owning his or her own company, could do very well.
And that's your final answer, very well.
Yes, that's my final answer.
Very well, that's my final answer. So you had to do a little PR with yourself in terms of budgeting, organization, marketing, promotion. Okay, all right. In terms of clients, has there ever been a client that you may have turned down?
Yes. Actually, and sometimes there are red flags. You may not see them in the beginning, but usually, once you start to see red flags that maybe
like
a person
no
isn't
money
right
for a budget, right?
Well, actually, I've had some bad clients that because of that issue, I had to actually drop them. And you don't want to run across that issue, but it may not even just be me. It's other business owners that experience that.
Do you have any other employees, or is you alone? This is the conglomerate.
This is me. This is the conglomerate. I'm getting ready to hire 2 interns to help me out. But surprisingly, and with the grace of God, I've been able to run my company and just really manage it and do what I need to do well. But I do have where I have resources at my fingertips that if I need some help in different areas, I can get it done.
So you take on a client, right? How much input, if any, which I'm sure they have some, that you generally get and generally reject?
Okay.
Because we all have our own ideas.
Yes.
Right. And if they work, we wouldn't have called you, right?
Right.
Okay. All right.
Some of the, well, once I sign a client on, I actually put together a PR plan for them based on what they're looking for.
Okay.
So it could involve looking at social media campaigns, social media management, the whole media, press relations aspect, marketing aspect. If they're looking for more hits with their branding, that could be a part of it as well. So I do put that together for them, a formal PR plan. What I find with clients is sometimes these are some of the pitfalls that you may have clients that feel that they're bigger than what they actually are.
The 8 by 5
exactly.
foot office that they live in.
Exactly.
Okay.
So they have this, and you're supposed to be very confident and proud of your product, your service, whatever I'm promoting for you. But I always want my clients to understand that you have to take baby steps. Okay, so if you don't have any local presence, let's say here in the Baltimore area, none at all, no one knows you, don't think that you can go from me signing you to, okay, you're Hollywood now. That's not, sometimes you have to build the presence, and it takes time.
You got to crawl before you walk.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Now, with that being said, right, in terms of having the small business and wanting to expand, in terms of planning and projection, say I do have a pretty marketable product or brand for that matter, one and the same in some cases.
Right.
And I'm looking to take my company, if you will, global from a media and or exposure standpoint, right? What is realistic in terms of time? Say I start in an 8 by 5 foot office,
right?
But I'm trying to go global. What's realistic and my product is hot?
Well,
and I know we can't predict some things, but generally.
I can give you an example of one of my, I don't want to put my client out there, but just to give you an example.
He may need the PR. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to help. Right. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But, well, when a client says, wants to sign with you for, let's say, 2 or 3 months, but wants is requesting, ample amount of media coverage, sometimes that's very unrealistic. Because, you may have a good product or a good service, but if it's not newsworthy to some producers, or if your story isn't fitting that need at the time, you may not get booked for a TV interview or a radio interview. It may not happen right away. They may wait until they feel that you're a good fit. If they do feel that you have a good story to tell, but it may not happen until the next month or the month after. So there are some realistic timelines, and what I do, I really do take the time to really educate my clients, on how the media works, on how, their expectations, where their expectations should be, and so that I find helpful.
Okay, with that being said, right, and you said you used the window, say 3 months. What is a realistic window in terms of you contracting, with someone over a period of time? What is your general rule or your general block of time for contracts?
I really feel I like to start out with a client with 6 months.
Okay.
I think that's pretty reasonable. One, it helps me to gauge how our relationship is going to work, the whole client relationship. And also, too, it allows me to see where we are following that PR plan. So,
in lieu of what it is you do and how people perceive PR or just the aspect of marketing and promotion with the World Wide Web and Twitter accounts and Facebook accounts and Weibo accounts and Wobble accounts, Do you find that you are in competition sometimes in terms of promoting and or marketing and media coverage? Because the average person has such a open and wide range of electronics,
Right.
to their disposal to promote promote their own selves.
Well, some people do. I mean, you go on Facebook. I'm on Facebook, and
You can give them if you want.
I go on Facebook, and sometimes where people do a lot of, they can promote themselves,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of really scary over promotion of oneself, and sometimes where you think,
Elaborate on that, if you would.
well, when you see someone that's just consistently every single day have to post something about themselves, everything is centered around that person, and you're seeing information coming from them every single day, people will burn out from it.
Right.
Believe it or not,
Like
they will.
some of those commercials is like this commercial again,
Right.
and like on the radio station it's like, oh, this. So I get it.
Right,
I get it.
right.
So, yeah, you kind of overkill.
Right.
Overkill.
Absolute
Okay.
overkill. That's not good.
How much detail do you need to know about the event? Say, because you do events as well.
Yes.
How much do you need to know about the event and what the time frame is in terms of preparation?
Right.
Depending on the event, I'm sure.
Exactly. Even with my clients, I want to know, well, of course, an event does include that, but I do like to do my homework, and I would like to learn about my clients.
Okay.
I'll ask questions of them, even with events, knowing the background, knowing the origination, of a particular event and why was the meaning, because it allows me to tell a story.
Okay. Okay.
And that's key. I like to tell a story
Okay.
of my
Well,
clients.
tell me a story about one of your clients that was, give me two scenarios.
Okay.
One that went really well and one that went really horrible.
Okay.
Well,
I'll start.
as you don't want to promote the
Right.
horrible aspect
Promote
of it,
the
but
horror. I can give you aspects of a bad client.
so it wasn't you, it was the client.
Right, it was the
Okay,
client.
I
It
get
was the
it.
client.
Got it. All right,
Absolutely.
I understand that. Trust me, I do.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what turned out is I had a client. This is me getting started, and what made this person a bad client is first of all, you sign a contract, an agreement with me to represent you. And there were promises made, and though it was my lessons learned, it was, promises made along the way to when I was going to be paid, and with my clients, good or bad, when I start out with you, first of all, I allow my work to speak for itself. I'm very consistent in allowing my work to speak for itself. So I think you had mentioned about, maybe thinking about what other PR people are doing and things like that. I really block that out because it helps me to stay focused. It helps me to stay focused on my work and on my clients. So my bad client, I fell victim to empty promises.
Okay.
Empty promises. So that is not good at all. And that's why it's important to me to ask a client, a potential client, about budget.
Okay.
About budget.
Okay. Now, the good client.
The good clients.
They pay me on time.
Yes, that's the number one. They pay on time, early.
Right.
Even some.
On
even
time.
some.
On time.
Right, early.
Right.
But
Early or on time.
earlier
Just
on
not
time.
late.
Right, not late.
So
but
we can.
no
So we don't
empty
need to
promises.
know anything else about the good client, right?
Right.
No, I'm sure there's more.
But there's more. I tend to have a lot of respect for clients that are business savvy, that are pretty well established, in that they don't have to be, at any income bracket,
Okay.
nothing like that. Just that they're solid and savvy enough to understand what I
it
will
is
do
that
for
you
them.
do, right.
Exactly.
Okay. Let me ask this question, right? In terms of interviewing a client, do you require them to have a portfolio? or it is part of your of your service
Right.
to assemble or provide them with a portfolio of what.
Yes.
Okay.
But at the same time, I would at least need some information on a potential client to know what I'm promoting.
First of all, I want to know what the budget is. Right?
Exactly.
Right.
Know that budget and know what you're promoting.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Is there something that, say the layman as I would be, in terms of seeking public representation, if you will, that I should look for as a client, as opposed to just some of the general stuff? Of course, we want to be able to identify that, number one, this person's not going to rip me off, and the reputation is intact. Can we find you in the Better Business Bureau?
You know what? I don't even know yet.
Yeah. Well,
I don't even know
we need
yet.
to find that out. No, but yeah.
But I have high ratings on my business Facebook page, if that helps.
So that would not be over promotion, though, because it's not self promotion.
Right, it's not self promotion.
Do you take their word for what they need, what their needs are?
No, because I do make recommendations, and especially if I want to put them at and placing them in the right direction, putting them on a steady pace. I mean, they can give me their ideas, and as long as they're valid ideas and realistic ideas.
Realistic.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So if you if I wanted to be promoted as Mr. Black Universe, right? I would require some other things, right? Other than just the nice smooth gray beard,
exactly.
right? I would actually have to have something other than just rhetoric in order to promote. Okay.
Right.
So you can't make something out of nothing.
Right.
Or have you had an opportunity to have to try?
Well, that somewhat fell with my bad client.
Right. That didn't want to pay.
Right. They didn't want to pay. Yeah. Just sometimes you can have a good product, but not the right person
to promote it.
Exactly.
It's this commercial that comes on, right? And this guy is two guys, and then there's it's three guys, and this one guy seems to always catch it. It's a car commercial, right?
Okay.
And he always gets the short end of the stick, throwing water on him, and I'm like, okay. At some point,
I think I know that commercial.
Right, and I don't want to put, because
I
don't want to give him any more publicity than he already has, because I really think that's poor publicity. And I think my question is that some people actually do their own promotions and public relations. Right. Have you ever had a client, right, that you had to deter from wanting to be the face of their product or their corporation?
Yes.
Right. And what would be some of those reasons why you would caution against it?
Sometimes it could be a person, not so much in their appearance, maybe in their delivery, that might not be a good fit.
Hey, yo.
Yeah.
Hey,
Right. Although they can be coached, but is it going to help sell?
Okay. In terms of coaching, right? What are some of those little nuances that most people need to incorporate in order to help service themselves, if you will, in terms of promotion, and how you would coach someone through certain quirks that they may have, for instance, what I just did, it's like, and public speaking, it's often deterred that you don't say
Right.
So how would you go about?
I slip up with too.
How would you go about dispensing that from someone's?
Sometimes you have to just take a second.
Okay.
And pause, and then transition to your
what it is. I think I'm trying to say, because it's always been one of those pet peeves that you learn in speech and college.
Right.
Please, you get points taken off, and you find politicians.
Yes.
Right. Not necessarily president, because he has a pretty.
He's amazing.
His public relations person is a genius, because I don't believe I've ever maybe 2 or 3 times hear him say,
No.
right?
No, you never.
And there it is, And in terms of athletes, have you ever had an opportunity to represent an athlete at this point? And if
well-
so, what are some of the pros and what are some of the cons?
Well, athletes are, some of them have great delivery,
Right.
and they do have great purpose
Right.
and what they want to represent. See, I said those that have,
Right.
well,
Each time you say that, you owe me $1.
okay.
Times 10. I'm just saying.
It all depends. It all depends on the athlete.
Okay.
Period, and what he or she are trying to sell.
Right. And the reason I bring that up is because there are quite a few athletes that are commentators and athletes. I won't say this particular guy's name, but the initials are CB.
Yes.
Right. And I'm like, does he actually watch the tapes? And I know that there are times when I stumble through some things in
Right.
terms of doing interviews. But I mean, just to like, dude, you sound stupid for real, right?
Yes, that's heard consistently from other people.
Right.
And first of all, I don't know who their publicist is.
Help that? Could you help?
Yes, that could be helped.
Maybe we ought to send him a tweet.
Right.
Right. Of course, no one knows who we're talking about, right? And in terms, and then we have athletes as well. I mean, other athletes. In terms of boxers, do you think you could possibly do public relations for a boxer who actually has suffered from quite a few head blows, if you will, and they stutter as well as are unable to enunciate and articulate? Have you ever had something that severe that you had to work
No, I
with?
have not.
Do you think
Yet.
you could? Do
Yes,
you think
I could.
you could?
Well, I have to be realistic because I don't want to just grab clients. I want quality clients. And so if I see that it's not going to be conducive
Okay.
to really help this person through.
Okay.
And it all depends. It all depends on the message. It could be, let's say it could be a boxer or an athlete that has like a nonprofit organization. So, they can be coached
Right.
to speak, but there could be some limitations set on that.
Okay.
And let me just mention that part of the role of a PR rep is to be the spokesperson too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, for those clients that could be stumbling or they're not, and I have clients that are not comfortable in front of the camera.
Right.
So I step in.
Okay. There it is again. See, I'm gonna need help with that. I mean, I don't have much of a budget, so in terms of our agreements, right? How could we possibly, in closing, right, help me with my
With your it's just
opposed
practice.
to pausing, because I have a flow. I'm an ebb flowing type of guy.
Right.
So, advice for our listening public, right, or
Right.
viewing public, if
Right.
you will, right? What would be one of the key things you would tell them in terms of looking for a PR person?
One of the key things, and this is something that I stress to, I share with potential clients. I share my work. I share what I do. I tell them to visit my website. I'm on social media.
Give a plug to your website.
Okay, my website is www.picginc.com. I'm also on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn.
Okay. I'm going to be working on my for the next show. I want to thank everybody for looking in and watching and bringing a wonderful host, Miss Angela Byrd, to the show to explain to us and help me in terms of my public relations. And again, I want to say thank you for kicking it with Kenneth. I'll see you guys again soon. Peace. 2 fingers.